Hello, everyone. It's Drew here with One Month Paleo, and I'm talking to Adrian Corbett today from London. He calls himself the Gut Geek because he is an expert on gut health, something we've not touched too much on, and I would love for you to listen to what he has to say. So, first off, Adrian, how you doing today?
Yeah, I'm really good. Just got back from the gym. So I'm feeling pumped up, lots of energy. Great. How are you, Drew?
Excellent. Great. I got back from the gym about an hour ago as well, drank a lot of water, had some coffee on the porch, did some work. Now I'm here.
Nice.
So, Adrian, let's start off. Just tell us about yourself.
Okay, well, so I'm a lawyer and spent many years working in law firms. And during that time, I did lots of things which, in hindsight, were not very good for my gut. So
Mhm.
loads of stress, loads of partying at the weekends, loads of antibiotics, um, and so that brought me into the world of nutrition when I had to finally get to grips with that.
Mhm. Well, great. I mean, sometimes it takes being at the bottom and feeling terrible to get started on that kind of thing, which is what it was for me. Our viewers know, but I don't know if you know. I started off freshman year of high school. My worst was 230 pounds,
Okay.
and I got down, the conventional way, low-fat diet, down to about 180, but I could never cross that line. And then was introduced to paleo a year ago, and boom, here I am, 149 pounds and feeling better than I ever have.
Yeah,
And
looking good.
it's been a pretty incredible journey.
Yeah.
So tell us about how you came up with the name Gut Geek. I really like that, and and what ignited the passion to really just from being a lawyer to go to Gut Geek.
Well, okay, I confess I have always been a bit of a geek. So in that sense, I did fit in at the law firms. But I won a biology prize when I was 14 years old, and it was all kind of
Very
downhill from
cool.
there. So I've always been interested in this side of things. But I mean, as you say, it took for things to get really, really bad before I really had the impetus to go and learn about these strategies and solutions that it takes to fix a gut that's got really out of balance, which is what I'm all about now. So, for example, I had got so bad that basically I had a lot of diarrhea. I was hungry all the time because I was
Yeah.
working out, but like my digestion just wasn't, the food I was eating wasn't fueling me because it wasn't getting digested properly. My
Right.
basically my engine was not running properly. Um, and I felt miserable. It affected my mood a lot. Sometimes I had a lot of pain going on down there as well, and it was just, I felt out of control. I felt miserable as hell.
Not fun.
No, not fun. But fortunately, the place I was at, lifestyle wise, when it at that point, really when I hit my low, I had by that point escaped the law firms. So I had a little bit of time on my hands to do some research and like really dig into this stuff because I
Mhm.
know that back in those days, and for those in your audience and my audience, Drew, who are really really busy with with all the pressures of work and family and kids,
Yeah.
you just don't have time to go and like figure out what's what in the world of nutrition, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, it's sometimes the very last thing you worry about. You're just worried about getting enough food in your body to stay alive to get to the next
Yeah,
day.
exactly. Um, but I figured out that there are some fairly straightforward strategies and solutions that are effective with across the board, and so it's kind of my mission to share some of those with people and see if I can just help a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. What should our audience know about those solutions that you've come up with? Is there anything you'd like to share today just to kind of get a quick start and then we can direct them to your website and to you to get some more information?
Yeah, sure. Well, uh, to begin with, the way I came at the solutions, in my own journey towards fixing myself was through something a dietary protocol which isn't very well known, but it's
Hmm.
it's called GAPS, which stands for gut and psychology syndrome,
Hmm.
and it was actually developed for autistic kids. I don't know if have you come across it at all, Drew?
No, no, not at all.
Um, I mean, it's not even particularly well known in nutrition circles, but anyway, what I it's incredibly effective. And what I discovered is that it has a lot in common with the paleo diet.
Uh-huh.
So basically, to answer your question, Drew, some of the key, the key parts of the paleo lifestyle are, as we know, cutting back on grains or eliminating them altogether, cutting back on refined sugar, cutting back on bad fats.
Mm-hmm.
All those kinds of things are, in a nutshell, exactly the kinds of things that we need to be doing in order to reverse the damage that we've done to our guts. And then when we've done that, our engine starts to work better and our whole health improves drastically.
Great. And one thing we have touched on a little bit before on our site is fermented foods as probiotics. I know that's an easy one to go to if you're fermenting your own food and not pasteurizing it. Other than that, what other probiotic sources can we find and are easily available to us?
Okay, well, yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, Drew, because that is, an absolutely key thing that we need to be doing in order to start getting our gut into better shape. Mm-hmm. is to start rebalancing the gut flora. Because we've got a really complex, a microbiome environment in there, which nobody really completely understands yet. I mean, it might be hundreds of years until we've got the technology and the understanding to really, to really work out the balance that goes on there. But it's, it's one of those miracles of evolution or God or whatever, that we are host to all these, these incredible organisms that do a lot of our work for us. So they digest our food for us and they fight off pathogens for us. So yeah, we need to start taking a probiotic if we're not already, and it needs to be a good quality one, not a cheap one in the supermarket. It's got to be from your chemist or your health food store, and it's got to be giving you a good dose of gut flora with a bunch of different strains. And now and then if you can then also start eating fermented foods as well, then you go straight to the top of the class.
Good, yeah. I mean, that's been one of the easiest snacks as far as paleo goes. Is I pickled peppers, cucumbers, and they're just really delicious. And I love the extra bite you get from it. I've done sauerkraut too, straight from just cabbage and a brine. And I mean, it stinks up the house, but it's delicious.
Yeah.
And because a lot of my audience doesn't understand, when you buy sauerkraut or pickles from a grocery store, they've been pasteurized, to protect the companies that put them out from people getting sick. So you really are getting no benefit from that, other than you're eating some kind of vegetable per se.
Yeah. And I mean, this is unfortunately, the story of our age, that all the food that comes to us has been killed in the sense of pasteurized. Mm-hmm. Which was a solution that was necessary for the public health, in decades gone by, and still is in certain ways. But if you're sourcing your food in the way that the paleo approach suggests, from healthy farms, small scale, local farming methods, then that whole thing isn't such an issue. Instead, what is an issue is that we've been feeding ourselves this dead food, which our body doesn't know how to react to. So exactly, yeah. So we need to be eating sauerkraut, which hasn't had the good stuff nuked out of it by the pasteurization process. That's crucial. Mm-hmm. Yeah, making absolutely. It at home ourselves, homemade is great.
Yes, it is. And my great grandmother, immigrated from Germany in the early 1900s, and she used to make sauerkraut in the house all the time. And I've had lots of sauerkraut because of it, and it's just been a wonderful thing that I've always loved. And now making it, there's something about making it yourself too that's just incredibly satisfying. But it's a great, quick, filling, and very healthful option to eat, and it's a go-to for me a lot.
Yeah, and it's got loads of other benefits as well. It's really good apparently for normalizing stomach acid, which is a real issue with people with chronic digestion problems, because it's where your chain of digestion of the digestion process begins. So if your stomach acids aren't right, then it sets everything off on the wrong track. So it helps with that. It's got a good source of vitamin C, all kinds of stuff. It's brilliant.
Awesome. You brought up a good point that I thought into my head, talking about how you were taking antibiotics when you were ill as a lawyer. So what happens to, say, me if I do get a bacterial infection from a cut or I've got something going on, and of course I'm going to take antibiotics. The risk is too great sometimes. If I'm feeling, let's say I contract strep throat and just got to get it killed off, how do I most quickly recover from having to be on that medication for 24, 48 hours or whatever they suggest?
Yeah, okay, that's a good question. Yeah, I mean, because antibiotics are a blessing sometimes. You know, we can't take them out of the toolkit by any means. We need them. But to mitigate some of the damage that you're doing to yourself, because, you know, if you think, you know, it's kind of like a nuclear bomb going off inside you. There's loads of collateral damage. There's loads of your good stuff getting wiped out at the same time as the bad stuff. So some people think that it doesn't make sense to be taking probiotics at the same time as antibiotics. You know, they think, well, won't that just, you know, cancel each other out? But actually, it's a good strategy to be taking probiotics and fermented foods that we've just been talking about at the same time to balance out, you know, and to help the gut, the good gut flora, and, you know, not get too much on the back foot.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me because the probiotics and fermented foods aren't going to be carrying in more strep throat. It's bringing in the good stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you might not want to eat them, you know, kind of in the same mouthful or, you know, exactly the same time of the day. Stagger it a little bit, but you know, if you have a good regime of the therapeutic probiotics and fermented food at the same time as taking antibiotics, you'll mitigate the negative effects of the antibiotics.
Great. This is great information, and I want more. And you have an upcoming website from what I've read. Tell me about that and what's going to be on it and how you plan to use it and how my audience can find you.
Yeah, glad you asked me that, Drew. Yeah, I'm slaving away at the moment to get the website up and running. It's been quite a few months in getting ready. So it's gutgeek.com. In fact, by the time many people see this video, it will be up because it'll be up in the next couple of weeks. So the kind of content that I will be focusing on is simple and easy strategies for fixing your chronic digestion problems through natural nutrition. So easy, you know, how-to guides, you know, kind of 5 steps to get up and running with fixing your gut, that kind of thing. So it's for beginners who are, you know, in the sense of people who are coming to the world of nutrition cold, you know, maybe because they've been carrying around a chronic digestion problem for months or even years, as some people have. You know, maybe it's, you know, acid reflux or, you know, IBS, you know, diarrhea, constipation, whatever it is. You know, maybe you're coming cold to the world of nutrition and you don't know where to start. This will take away all that confusion for you with a step-by-step guide. But then also, for people who've you know, been in the, you know, for example, the paleo world for a while, or, you know, other kind of you know, lifestyles for improving health, how to go into those things deeper to carry on improving your health, you know, and carry on, you know, moving up to the next level. So that, I mean, all of this is about, you know, bringing back the enjoyment of food and unlocking your energy and your potential so that you can, you know, go out and live your dreams, basically.
It's wonderful. That's what we who have discovered this would love for everyone to discover on their own as well. It's just like, let's say we discovered television and want to share it with a tribe that has never seen it before. It's just a wonderful thing that has just changed my life, and I'm sure it's changed your life. It sounds like it for sure.
Yeah.
So what I'd like to do now is get into 2 fun questions I always like to ask on my interviews.
Shoot.
Number 1, if you could only give one piece of advice for someone who's going to go against the conventional diet plan and wants to take on something to improve their health, what is one piece of advice you'd give them?
Okay, I think it would be that it's super important to find the right diet and the right dietary strategies for you in particular. And that kind of breaks down into 2 things. The first is that it's very easy to look and see what other people are doing and to just assume that if you copy it, it's going to work. But that doesn't necessarily apply because they're going to be in a different situation to you, and they may have a different objective to you. So
Mm-hmm.
they may be wanting to lose weight, or they may be wanting to deal with a particular health issue, or their body just may be in a very different kind of place to you right now. Our bodies change like from day to day, and every person's body is, very different in some ways. And the second point is you need to figure out where you are, so where you're at today, and what it's going to take to get to that outcome. So for a lot of your audience, Drew, it's going to be, fixing their health issues or losing those stubborn pounds, whatever it is. And for the, a lot of the people I'm focusing on, it's getting rid of that chronic digestion problem that you've been carrying around for ages, and you're completely sick of it. So it's working out where exactly you're at and how to get there, and then you tailor your strategies according to that. But having said that as well, sorry, I'm just jumping right over you, Drew. Sorry.
No, don't be.
Having said that, there are certain like tried and tested strategies which work, and that's what form the basis of what you're doing, Drew, and what I'm doing in my with Gut Geek is for example, if you cut your starchy carbohydrates right back, that's really going to help your gut. If you cut your refined sugars right back, that's your gut's going to love you for that. Those kinds of strategies, they work across the board pretty much.
Yeah, there's a great foundation to build off of with the paleo movement, because with ancestral health, we also have to realize different people living around the world in different places ate utterly different diets, but they were all still whole foods, wild foods, and something that you could forage and find, and nothing that was really farmed. Like the Inuits, for one, ate nothing but whale blubber and fish and some plant that they could find some roots occasionally in the summer months, which is utterly different than the Amazon, where it's mostly plants and berries that you can find, and if you can get a wild hog, you'll eat that. So it's completely different, but both in great health, but also having to recognize between those two, they had different body sizes, but they still had optimal health.
Yeah.
And so there's a foundation, but it's different for everyone. You got to find out what works for you best. And in this crazy world, connected and busy world we live in, you have to find also what's the best tactic and strategy you use to get those foods. Because that's not a one-size-fits-all shoe at all.
No.
Absolutely not.
No.
So,
That's a really interesting way of putting it, Drew. I really agree, and it just makes you. It fills me with geeky excitement, Drew. That the humans around the world can eat such vastly different things, and still be very healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Or they can eat the kind of standard American diet and be incredibly unhealthy.
Yeah. That's where I was, and.
That's where I was.
You don't really know how bad you felt until you start feeling great. And that's what was wonderful on my journey.
Yeah, well said.
Yep. And the last fun question, one of my favorites, because this is a hard one to hammer down. If you could only eat one meal for the rest of your life, and you have to eat that meal and that meal only, that's an interesting way to say, what is your favorite meal?
Okay, well, I was having a look at your site, Drew, and the advice you give to the people in week one, and I think it was a post by Greg. Is he your kind of partner in crime?
Yes, he's one of our culinary experts. He makes his own food and everything, and he wasn't paleo before, but he did it along with everyone else and was sharing what he found and recipes he could make.
Okay, cool. Okay. What I liked about this particular post, maybe we can put a link to it in the show notes, but he was saying how important it is, particularly when you're transitioning onto a paleo approach, or the kinds of approaches I advocate, is to start getting the hang of putting together simple, fresh ingredients, without too much fuss. You're not following a recipe or anything. So, that's basically what I would do if I had to do this forever. And I don't claim to be a chef by any means, but I love taking some fish
Mm-hmm.
some tuna, some sea bass, some salmon, whatever, and just frying that lightly in some coconut oil or some butter. And then you can just throw in like whatever you've. See, this is my get out, Drew. I'm being sneaky here. See if I'm if I
Yeah,
had to.
I understand, and I do this all the time too.
um, so whatever like herbs I happen to have around. So if there's maybe some basil, if it's going to go a bit Mediterranean, or
Mhm.
perhaps some lemongrass and cilantro, coriander, or some ginger. That's really nice.
Yes.
And then just serve that up with maybe some salad and some avocado. Boom.
Yep, and that's really, I don't really make recipes anymore. Recipes got me through the beginning because it gave me something to do. But now it's what do I have in my fridge? What did I buy from the grocery store a few days ago? This will all go together, and it's a variety all the time because of that.
Perfect.
Yep. All right. Well, everyone, you are a better person today because you've been talking with Adrian Corbett and learning a lot from him. We'll have some links in the show notes and everything about how you can find Adrian, how you can find us, and by the time this posts, hopefully you'll have your website up and we'll be able to just jump on there and cruise it and get some great advice, even more detailed than you've given us today. And I can't thank you enough for coming on the show today
Thank you for having
and
me.
really talking to me and sharing.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been great.
All right. Have a good one.